If you are starting to get sick of renting, now is a great time to start laying the groundwork for home ownership. But you are probably wondering just how much you need to have saved up. Purchasing a home is likely one of the biggest financial investments that you will make in your life. So you want to be sure to have enough money set aside to avoid being house broke, and honestly, it will make it so much less stressful during the house hunting journey. In this video, I will share exactly how much money you need to have in your bank account to buy a home here in the Twin Cities. Don't miss the end of the video though, where I will share some of the best places to look for free money to help ease the total amount you need to have readily available, which could be the marker between getting approved and not. I'm Bailey Beckman, a local realtor that educates my clients and prepares them for long-term financial success. The biggest chunk of money you will need to save up for, and also the most well-known, is your down payment. You will often hear people tell you not to purchase until you have saved up 20%. And don't get me wrong, there are pros to putting a hefty chunk of money down, such as a lower monthly payment and avoiding private mortgage insurance. But there are also cons, like waiting to save up that amount and then being completely priced out of a market. In general, the lowest amount that you can put down on a home is 3%. However, if you are a veteran, you can buy a house with 0% down. Comment on this video if you would like more information about how to use that program. For the sake of time though, I'm just going to focus on the numbers for a standard conventional 30-year loan. To make this a little easier, I'm going to show you the math versus just talk about it because I'm a visual person and you might be too. Here in the Twin Cities, the median sales price for homes in November 2022 was $354,000. So we're going to use that as our baseline. The minimum you can put down is 3%. So 3% of $354,000 is $10,620. Now, don't freak out and stop watching because you think, man, I'm not even close to saving that much. Real estate transactions are based on percentages, which means the total amount slides depending on the price of the home. Depending on the neighborhood, that $354,000 house will be more aligned with a 3 to 4 bedroom family home rather than a starter home. And I am here to tell you that it is okay to not have the picture perfect HGTV Instagrammable home right off the bat. The average length that people own a home is 7 years. So you can begin with a starter home and then move up when you build equity. Here's how that minimum down payment will look on other home prices. The other chunk of money that you need to take into consideration is closing costs. These will range at 2 to 3% of the price of the home and will include the lender fees, title work, prorated taxes, and a bunch of other stuff. So for a $354,000 home, you should set aside an additional $10,620. So we're up to a total of $21,240. Again, don't freak out. This is a percentage, so a less expensive house means less money in. When you wrap up the down payment and the closing costs, the final total is called cash to close. That is the amount that you will have on a big fat cashier's check when you make it to signing day. You also need to be considering the fees that come with buying, like inspection costs and the appraisal cost. A general inspection will take place typically within 1 week after your offer has been accepted and will cost between $300 and $500, depending on the square footage of the house. There are other inspections that you can add on, like a sewer line or radon inspection, but those come with additional fees. Check out my video, Types of Home Inspections, on my channel for a deeper dive into inspections and what you should expect them to cost. Remember though that inspections are non-refundable. So if you walk away from a home and select a new home, you will have to pay this fee again. The appraisal cost is typically between $600 and $700 and is charged by the lender for a professional evaluation of the price of the house. Think of it this way. A bank doesn't want to grant you a $500,000 loan on a house that isn't valued at more than $200,000. Some lenders will wrap this up into their closing costs, and others will charge beforehand. So be sure to ask your lender how they have you pay for this piece and at what point they have you pay for it. The final piece that you should save up for is an annual home maintenance fund. Remember, the goal of this video is to prevent being stressed and house broke. The fund isn't actually paid out unless something happens, and as a homeowner myself, something is bound to break within the first year of you living in the home. It is just how the universe balances itself out. I recommend setting aside 2% of the whole price annually to cover emergency repairs, maintenance plans, and home supplies, like a snowblower. So all in on a $354,000 house here in the Twin Cities, you would want to have about $29,520 saved up. But I have good news for you. This amount dramatically reduces when you take advantage of free money. And don't come at me saying nothing is free, everything comes with a cost. I know. I am using free in the terms of money you don't need to have in your account right now. One way to reduce the amount you bring to the table is by asking for seller-paid closing costs. In the state of Minnesota, you are allowed to ask for up to 3% of the purchase price back in seller pays. So now you are down to $18,900. Minnesota also has programs out the wazoo to help first-time home buyers with down payment assistance. The most well-known program is up to $10,000 of assistance that comes as a second mortgage on the house at 0% interest for 30 years. You pay it back at the end of the 30 years, or if you refinance, or if you sell the house. Other counties do have additional programs with assistance available, and some even have forgivable amounts. Your local lender should have knowledge of these programs, and if you don't have a lender you know or trust yet, I would be happy to introduce you to a couple of people that I have worked with and just think they are dang good at what they do. So now we are down to $8,900 all in on a $354,000 house. I'd say that's one heck of an awesome investment for a long-term equity growth and financial success. For that, real estate transactions are based on percentages though, and will slide depending on how much house you are looking for and what the cost of that house will be. The down payment will be a minimum of 3%, closing costs 2 to 3%, inspections between $500 and $700, an appraisal between $600 and $700, and that annual home maintenance fund for 2%. I hope this gives you a better idea on what to expect when saving for a home and shows you that ownership is much more attainable than imagining that 20% down payment situation. In my next video, I will be covering how the credit score is determined for a loan when you buy as a couple. Subscribe to my channel to get the notification next week.